Hey everyone, this is Nick LaRue from Film Snobbery, and I am here at the South Georgia Film Festival here in Valdosta, Georgia, over at Valdosta State University. This is fantastic. This place is beautiful. It makes me wish I went to a real college instead of community college. And who am I here with today?
Hey, Nick. This is Anthony Pierce. I'm here representing Sophia Songhai, director, producer of the short film Interception about Jane Kennedy, now Jane Kennedy Overton.
That's fantastic. And what is it? How did you get involved with the production, first of all?
Well, Sophia is my cousin, and a couple years ago I got involved with the film industry after a lifelong career of coaching college football. And last year she told me that she had did this project. And we all knew Jane Kennedy when we were in college. We were all in love with Jane Kennedy. And when she mentioned that she was doing this project, we just started talking and chatting about it, and I started following her work, and that's how it all got started.
Now, I'm gonna take it off on a little bit of a side tangent real quick. So, as a former football coach, you've probably been interviewed many times, either for college radio, college newspapers, of course, then maybe even local and national news. Did you ever do? Because you've got a fantastic voice for good face for TV, better voice for radio. It's fantastic. No, did you ever have any type of like PR training or anything like that to do interviews like this? And because you are representing the hell out of the movie, I'm loving it.
At a couple of my coaching stops, and I've coached at Pittsburgh, West Virginia, I've coached at UGA up above and a couple of other schools. Once in a while, they did bring someone in, a professional come in, to just share with us some of the things that we would be discussing, what we shouldn't say, what we should say. So that sort of helps out a little bit.
Well, and getting back to the movie, why was it important for her story to be told, as opposed to any other of the myriad of fantastic subjects that are out there to cover, especially in a documentary? Why was her story so important to the filmmaker, and why is it important to you?
Well, I think we were just discussing being American. Why not just be American, get a job, interview for a job, try to work at that job and just be you. We have enough issues, but it's not always that way, especially what happened with Jane Kennedy, who happened to be get cast as a first black female sportscaster with CBS. A lot of people haven't heard about her. We in the older age group have heard about her. So just knowing that Sophia was doing this work with Jane and interviewed Jane about this, we knew that it was an important piece because it goes back to what we've been discussing about justice. What happened to her should not have happened. It's just justice. Treat people equally. Treat females equally. Treat people, no matter what color you are, equally. So this is the word that's getting out just about Jane's experience and what she went through.
And if people are watching the movie, they're gonna definitely see a lot of that, what that story entails, and what are some of the things. But for folks who have not watched the movie yet, I think they can probably guess what is a younger black woman who's experiencing this kind of level of fame. What was some of the things that she was going through?
Well, just the racist issue is the first thing, and she wasn't the only one going through this. But being a female, she was going to replace a white female who was famous, was Miss America at one point, and married a governor. So when that position opened up, everybody's going to put in for it. Black, white, Hispanic, hopefully, Asian, hopefully, and whoever is the best gets the job. Well, she was able to get her foot in. People actually tried to tell her, don't go after it because you're not going to get it. And as we know in sports, we should never say can't to anything. You always go after something and see what that attempt happens and causes.
And was Jane's career, you're a man in sports, so there's a direct correlation here, between Jane's career as a sportscaster and yourself as a coach. I mean, there's a line that could be drawn there. Was anything that you watched her on, or anything or listened to that influenced you wanting to get into the profession?
Well, not necessarily myself, but my cousin Sophia had experienced similar occurrences that Jane had gone through. Sophia was a newscaster at one point. She, at her job, was asked to change her hairstyle. So when you hear that happening with Jane Kennedy, who is beautiful, who ended up having a TV and film career. She's been on a Love Boat, been in movies. Other people started to know and recognize her. It's like, oh my goodness, how can they ask Jane Kennedy to change her hairstyle? You know, so just that right there with what Sophia had experienced, was really interested in putting this story out there. For me, myself, being in sports in the past, I like I mentioned, we're all in love with Jane, and we knew about her work, and we were so glad that she was able to be involved in that.
And for the folks who are going to listen to this later, I mean, I think that there's an understatement here as far as, you know, black hair. And that is a very broad topic and a very important one, both culturally but also practically. I mean, Chris Rock years ago did a documentary called Good Hair that talked a lot about it. But if you are friends at all or have friends in the industry who are black, there's two things that they talk about all the time that is very frustrating to them. The first one is, oh, no one can light a black person like that, you know, in a movie. Somehow they find it to be very difficult. And then, of course, there's the discussion of, you know, more light skinned versus darker skinned black folks as well. But then the other conversation then does come down to black hair. Either finding a good, competent black hairstylist is very difficult because of you know, the types of hair or certain hairstyles or something like that, or they're just asked to not have those hairstyles, and that to me is absolutely crazy to get it. And I work in marketing, so I do understand wanting to appeal to a broader base. But at the same time, I think there's appealing to a broader base, and then there's just flat out racism. And so, yeah, that's good.
But think about that video that was out about Denzel Washington when he said it's about culture. Yeah. He said white people have never experienced that hot comb on a Sunday morning because they never had to do that with their straight hair. Yep. But when you had the hair that people were trying to straighten their hair in the black culture, we all knew that burn. My father used to process his hair when years ago back in the 70s, and we all knew that smell. I don't have any hair either. So just knowing that it's the culture and that Sophia could really understand what Jane was going through as she interviewed her and learned more about the things that she had gone through was just unbelievable.
I mean, are there any lessons to be taken? This obviously there's the factual aspect, and I think that the chronicling those things is really important. Getting it down on. We say, you know, get it down on wax, but in this case, you know, it's a digital file or a DVD or whatever the medium is. Getting that record of these things, both because people get older. Jane's older, you know. Right. Sophia's getting, you know, we're all getting older. So getting all of this down now is very important culturally. Again, culturally speaking, it'll become part of our history, film or otherwise. But is there a takeaway message at all that you would say for the film to other people that are watching it that may or may not, like, say I'm a white guy, you know, if I'm a white guy, what should I take away from this, or what should a Latino person take away from this, or anyone else watching the movie? I think that black people will definitely identify with it from, you know, the racism aspect and stuff. Is there any other takeaway from it?
The great takeaway is that we were all created equally, and that we should all love every human being, no matter what they look like. We spend so much time and energy worrying about what other person's color is rather than just getting to know them. Yeah. You know, as I mentioned, my mom's Portuguese, my dad's black. I'm very light-skinned. I went to Gettysburg College. All of my teammates were all white. But I happened to be the captain because they were my team. I didn't see white teammates, Jewish teammates, Hispanic teammates. They were my teammates. So I come down to the South, coaching at UGA, coached at Alabama State, and you see that people are people no matter where they are. So whether you're in Savannah or Massachusetts or Atlanta, United States, we were all created equally. And just because you try to treat others not that way, it doesn't mean that we aren't that way.
That's fantastic. And let's talk about you personally for a second, because you went from coaching to acting, and that is an interesting transition as like a second career, you know. How did you get into that?
Well, I mentioned earlier that I was watching the news, and I saw on the news that The Baywatch movie was looking for some background extras. So I said, why not? And I put my face in, headshot, my body size, my clothing size, and 2 days later, I got a call and saying that they would like me to be a detective in the police office scene. So I'm sitting in my office with my fake badge, my fake gun, and all of a sudden I hear these voices come out that sound familiar, and I turn around and it's The Rock and Zac Efron. So my first project that I was in was with The Rock all day and Zac Efron. And from there, you sort of speak with other people on set to find out, okay, what do I have to do this again? Or what do I have to do to get a speaking role? Well, SCAD students have short movies. No one's going to put you in a movie you've never acted before. You never had speaking lines before. Go over to SCAD students and ask if you could help them with some lines. So did several short movies with that, then did some short movies in Atlanta. And then eventually I got a facial feature in a motion picture called A Dark Place. And so I knew that there was something about my look because I had gotten booked for detective, CIA, FBI, got booked for that movie, other projects and things like that. So I knew there was something there. So now I have an agent right now and just looking to see what else God has in the future.
Yeah, that's a fantastic thing too. The idea of just like, why not? I always respect anyone who says, there was an opportunity and I said yes. And because I think that there's a lot of fear of people doing that of, well, what will happen? What might happen? Well, what could happen is fun stuff.
That's right. Sit it out or dance, Nick. Always dance. I sell life insurance now. It's not going to last forever. You can't do it when you're dead. Yep. So you better enjoy life while you're alive, and that's why I'm here helping Sophia.
Well, I appreciate you coming down to the South Georgia Film Festival here. It's a beautiful festival. I hope that you get to see a ton of movies while you are here from other talented people, and I hope that other people get to come see this movie as well. If you're not at the festival, I get it, but either hopefully see it at another festival, or hopefully if it ever gets some sort of distribution, finding it out there in the world. Thankfully, at least we still have YouTube at the end of the day, if nothing else, right? But you know what? The best way to experience these things is with an audience. So if you can get down to your local film festival and movies like this are playing, or this specific movie is playing, I highly recommend you do it. So thank you so much for sitting down with me.
You're welcome. It's called Interception, Jane Kennedy Experience.
Fantastic. Thank you. And have a fantastic rest of your festival.
Thanks, Nick.